So, Dr. Pritchard.
Hey, Jacob.
When you walked into this district, what were the conditions?
Well, Jacob, the challenges and opportunities in 2010 are very different than they are in 2015. And largely, if I had to put it in very general terms, the buildings needed some improvements to infrastructure, in particular, Wi-Fi capacity, some of the opportunities for classrooms to be equipped with digital technologies. That was the thing that struck me as being the most in need, the greatest deficit. Because I know that there were students who were digitally native and teachers who were very comfortable as well and looking for new opportunities to help students own or take control of their own learning, but we really didn't have the infrastructure supports to make those changes in instruction happen. So that was what really hit me the most in terms of challenges. The other piece was centered on not a facilities matter, but a question of changing curriculum. Curriculum meaning what is it we want students to learn and how we want them to learn and how we want them to be engaged. So there were clearly some holes in the curriculum, the curricular program, what we teach, that needed to keep pace with what the demands are for our students for the 21st century. So those are the two things that really jumped out at me and seemed to be the greatest opportunities for me to make my mark back in 2010.
And what do you feel was your biggest accomplishment as superintendent?
Every superintendent who comes through seems to be well suited for what the needs of the districts are at that time. And I believe that I laid a foundation for a subsequent superintendent to be successful and to be able to provide a world-class education for our students. So by a foundation, I mean an attitude that we can be world-class. And that was seen in things like more advanced placement courses for students. When I had gotten here, we only had a couple of courses that were available in the humanities, but now we have 9 or 10 at this point, I believe 10, that range from AP Music Theory and the Fine Arts, advanced placement in European history, biology, physics, chemistry, and also in the physical science as well as the humanities and the fine arts. So I think we offer our students a range of advanced opportunities and that they can aspire to get a taste of what it means to be to do college level work. So there was that shift in attitude. I think that was probably the thing that I'm the most proud of. And again, I think those opportunities will only grow. I think that again, it serves as a foundation, I think, for whatever the next superintendent wants to do with this community of learners.
And what do you think was one thing coming into this district that you wanted to do that you didn't get done?
There's a lot. I think that when I initially came here, I looked at what were the highest priority items, and I did accomplish what I would call my high priority items, which were advanced programming, college level programming, facilities and infrastructure. The one piece that I want to do more with and I wanted to do more with was centered on student engagement. And that was essentially students who could, and I'm confident that this will happen. So it's not that I'm disappointed that I didn't make it happen, because I know that starting in the fall, this will start to happen. But the next phase or the next step or in the sequence was to get students to be able to work with their guidance counselors, particularly at the high school, and also at the middle school, to start to dream big, to start to do some programming and to start some goal setting. And they would do that through Naviance. And I think that some of the students have already started to work with Naviance. Our high school students now will have the opportunity, mandatory, all will take the PSATs in the fall. 10th graders will be mandatory for them to take the PSATs during the day, and optional for juniors who want to qualify for the National Merit consideration. So it's really the next step for me, and the one area that I was ready to roll out starting in the fall was goal setting for students. Have students really become responsible for setting goals that go well beyond graduation, to get them to start thinking along those lines, and deliberately making time during the day for students to actually, I'm going to say, to formally engage in dreaming and matching their courses at school and opportunities online to match those dreams and to make those dreams happen, and to build a plan, to literally build a plan using programs like Naviance to help them create the steps that they need to take to get to where they need to be. And I did mention briefly that some of the online, the flipped classroom, well, basically where students are allowed to work outside of school, either through a experiential or project-based opportunities, like working for a local business, or working out of school, outside the classroom, outside the walls, using digital technologies, using the internet, to be able to go outside of the classroom setting and be able to tailor the learning to meet their own interests and their own tastes. So that's kind of what's called the flipped classroom. So we're going to start to see some more of that too as well, some more project-based opportunities for students. We started that a little bit with Project Lead the Way. So I think that, again, that'll start to grow. I'm just sorry that I wasn't able to be a bigger part of that, and that's really the one thing that I would have liked to have been more a part of.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any, what do you think you will miss most about being the superintendent of Mexico?
Well, I'm going to miss you. Yeah, and I'm going to miss Aislinn. You know, I made a lot of friends here. And the people here are very dear to me. You know, you can't not be a little bit heartbroken when you leave a place where you've made connections with people. Those are the things that, you know, you're not going to read on paper. Those are the things that I'm not going to be able to put in a binder and put on my shelf when this is all over. The feelings that I have for the people here. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to stay in touch with some of the folks that I've known through the years, and to be able to follow your progress. You know, and hopefully someday we'll all be back together at some point somewhere. We'll reunite, and you'll have great stories to tell me about your lives. So that's the thing that I know that I will miss the most. I know that I will miss the closeness of this community, the support, so the general sense of collaboration and caring and kindness that this community brings to school every day. You know, so we are unusual in that sense, that these are buildings filled with students and children who are generally well behaved, compassionate, kind, hardworking, and you know, I'll miss the culture associated with that. I just want to say how grateful I am to you guys, the students. I've mentioned this before, and I don't think people realize this, but it almost seems like I'm your student. I'm a student of you. I watch you guys, and I learn from you guys, and I learn what I need to do better. And I think that in the 5 years that I've been here, I think that having worked with people such as yourself, students such as yourself, I think I have become a better superintendent. I think that I've learned a lot about what it takes and what it means to be a superintendent, and what it, you know, what goes into making a productive school system. But again, anything that I've achieved or accomplished, it's because you've shown me the way and you've guided that path for me. So to the students, and the families and the members of this community, I just want to say that I'm very grateful, and this is something I will never forget, and I'll always be appreciative of.